Good afternoon. Just going to give everybody a minute and I'm going to make sure we can see everything. I hope everybody is doing great. It is a beautiful fall day here in Calgary. I'm definitely feeling a little more crisp lately out there. All right. Just make sure we can see things. Hello, Mayuri. Hello, Coralie. How are you? Can you hear me okay? I don't know. I usually try to put it on my iPad to make sure it looks okay, and my iPad was freezing up a little bit. Let's try that. We are going to, hey Coralie, we're gonna do a little bit of scrapbooking today. My iPad is very far behind my phone, so every time I adjust my phone, it takes a few minutes. But I think that's gonna be pretty good there. All right, we've got some cute puppy photos to scrapbook. Hi, Douglas. And we've got some really great Penny Black products. So Penny Black is a wonderful stamp company. They have dies. Definitely, you're going to want to check these out. I have some cute puppy photos because we just got a new puppy. Hi, Deval. And welcome to everybody. I can't see everybody's name. Hi, Katarina. And we just got a new puppy, but I didn't have any puppy paper. So I saw these stamps and I thought these would be so cute, and you can customize stamps, which is why one of the reasons I love using stamps. And so I thought it would be really cute to color these stamps to, number one, look like my puppy, and color the things that are on the images to match the paper. So even though this isn't a pet collection, I love that I could match the papers with, stuff that my kids are wearing or the photos, and then color the images so that everything really coordinates. I also went in and grabbed some distress oxides in the colors. So this collection, it was out a while ago, but you might notice like some of the Simple Stories collections have some same color themes or palette throughout them. So you might have a collection that is similar to this, and it doesn't have to be themed towards a specific theme if you incorporate your stamps into it. Hi, Jacinth. So this is the flea market collection, and I don't even have a 12 by 12 paper pack of it, but I have this 6 by 8, and I'm going to pull in the sketch. Let me find the sketch here. Every month in the Creative Scrapbooker Sketchy Challenge group, we have a new sketch, and it's created by Jennifer Edwardson, Jennifer Edwardson Crafting. Hello, A Little Bird Crafts. Hey, Creative Scrapbooker Magazine. And so she makes this beautiful sketch and puts it in there, and people share what they've made that is inspired by the sketch. So definitely a great group to check out. But I printed this out from the September sketch, and a new one will be coming soon. And it's, it gives you an idea, but with a sketch, I love starting with a sketch because it gives me an idea, although at the end it never really looks exactly like the sketch, but I love the inspiration. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Christy. So I am going to take my photos and kind of put them in the center, even though I don't have 3 photos. I'm going to use these fun frames from Simple Stories that match this flea market collection, which I love. but I'm going to kind of put them here. I'm going to choose some paper to go across the center. And then I thought we'd add a little bit of stenciling and our stamped images, and we're going to color one of these stamped images with Mildliners. So if you haven't tried these before, they are double-ended highlighters in amazing colors. There's like a ridiculous amount of colors, and they are so beautiful. And so you can use them for highlighting and doing, you know, paperwork that might be not so fun, but you can also color with them. So they have this really cool bullet point on one end, and then they have a chisel point on another. So we are actually going to color with them, and I pulled out some colors that I felt like again would match the collection. And I have a piece of Creative Scrapbooker Superstock, which is amazing white, thick cardstock. It's beautiful, bright white. So we're going to use that as our background base. And we'll move these over for a second. We're also going to pull in some of the foam circles as embellishments from Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L, and use these pretty foil sheets on them. And it's a really neat technique that's super easy. If you want to add foil to your project, it's a really fun way to do that. Hi Tammy Lynn, hi Linda, hi Anna, and welcome to everybody who's popping in. So we'll move this out of the way, and first I decided on this background paper. So I don't know what I have in my project already. All right, so we need something that goes across 12 by 12, and this paper, it's a floral, it doesn't have to match up, and I thought this would be a nice one to put across the whole way. So one sheet is 8 inches, and so we just need 4 more inches, so we're going to cut 4. And it even has this little bit of a grid design in it, so really you're not even going to notice where we match it up. Then we can set that aside. This paper pad has so many fun things. So Simple Stories, with their collections, they usually come out with the 12 by 12 paper pack. Hi Jackie. And they also have these 6 by 8 paper pads, which are double-sided and really fun. And lots of, like, some large 6 by 8 images and some that you can cut down to 3 by 4 cards. So there's always fun things in these. You could even cut out lots of the images and use them for embellishments. So we will set that aside. Do you guys usually buy a 12 by 12 paper pack for stenciling? Or do you find, for stenciling, for scrapbooking, or do you find that you will pick up a 6 by 8? So this is kind of what I'm thinking. Before I glue it down, I'm actually going to grab my ruler. If I have it close, here we go. I do like using this ruler. This one is from OLFA Crafts. I have their little scissors for fussy cutting as well that I really like. And I find that it just helps me line things up. And so what I will normally do is I'm going to just decide where I want things before I stick them down and do my stenciling. Hi Maria. You love the 12 by 12, Monique? Yeah. And the 12 by 12 is nice too because it comes with a 12 by 12 sticker sheet in it, which is always awesome. So I have these OLFA scissors, and they are little stitching scissors, but I love them for fussy cutting or just to have a little pair of scissors. And these foam title stickers are on a clear background. So what I'm going to do is just cut out what I'm thinking of using for my title, and then I can test it in different areas and without, you know, committing to putting it down. I also kind of like these flowers, and I might put those on. So we'll just set these aside. Hi, Joy. six by small for smaller albums. Yeah, I love having the flip books or the snap books, and then using that 6x6 paper pad works amazing. There's so many fun things. I really like the hearts too, and we might add in some hearts after. And I love that these are foam. So we have got Yes Please. And if we looked at the sketch, I kind of start with the sketch and then I go from there. It has the title on the top and it has journaling on the bottom. So we'll kind of think about that, but I'm almost thinking that I might move this down here. And we've got our die cut hugs. Now the die cut hugs is from the Penny Black Hugs Edger die. And so the neat thing about this die set is that it cuts out the outline of the top of the hugs, which is great for cards. And so then you can layer on the hugs die. It fits right into that. So it's really cool. So you would go ahead, cut your hugs border, and that would fit on the bottom of your card, and then you would layer on your die cut. So I just die cut a layer of pink cardstock and then 2 layers of white just to give me some dimension for that. And it's a really nice detailed die cut. Hi Raja. 6x8 and usually get the sticker sheet. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, because you can also buy that 12x12 sticker sheet separately. So that's the hugs die. And that's what I'm kind of thinking of for that. And then I also die cut some of these flowers. So this one is Burst of Blooms. And I love too that they give you a sample on the back, some ideas. Like how gorgeous is that? So when I look at that, it looks like they cut it in brown and then they cut it again in white and layered on the flowers. And that would be really beautiful as well. And then you have the Refresh, which has the 3 flowers. And I'll show you what I die cut. So these ones I just pulled papers out of my stash that match the colors. And I just did 1 layer. For this little cluster here, I actually did 3 again, just like the hugs. So the pink flowers. And so these colors kind of all match. And this way, even though we're pulling in different things from different collections, they're matching because we're using a similar color. So this is, I'm not sure if I want this one here, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. And that's, I usually don't glue things down until I decide that it's where I want it. So I'm thinking that's probably, I think that probably is going to be what's going to happen there around that. Hi Bernadetta. And we can embellish at the end. We've also got these cute little puppies, and we are going to also color another puppy up. So we'll probably pop these up. I don't know if we'll use all of these, but they were really cute. Like this one maybe up here. How cute are these? I also like that this stamp set. The stamp set is called Man's Best Friend, and they've got some coloring ideas on the back too, which is really cute. Hello, Jerry. And lots of images and lots of different sizes. You've got a sentiment that's great if you miss someone's birthday. And then you've got these cute paw prints, and I thought we'd kind of position the paw prints on the layout as an embellishment. So that's pretty much my idea for the layout. So let's color our image. I've got the little dog in the doghouse. And when I'm using Mildliner markers, so these are from Zebra Pen, they have a Canadian site, zebrapen.ca. They are in most countries, and they have lots of different colors. If you're going to be doing some watercoloring with them, I stamp on Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock, and it just has, or I guess it's actually the vellum cardstock. Let me grab the package. It's Strathmore Bristol Vellum. I think the smooth works fine too, but this is what I have right now. It has a really smooth surface and it just allows the marker to move around. It is water-based, and then you're going to want a water brush. So you just fill the base of your brush with water. I also have a paper towel or napkin to the side so I can wipe off my brush. And basically you're just starting by laying down your colors. So I picked out these colors again to match my paper. And because this is a little bit larger image, I'm going to add a base with the lighter pink, because wherever you put your marker color on, that's going to be a little bit darker. And this is like your paint. So you want to make sure you get enough color on. If you have a little tiny area, you can just trace around it and pull the color out. And then the more color you put on, the darker it will be. So here I can just scribble on some color. Let's actually zoom in a bit so you can see. I mean, this is not anything fancy. And then I grabbed a darker pink and we're going to put that right over it. So this is going to turn a little bit lighter when we add our water brush to it. We can even add a few stripes around the edges, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I got it a little bit on the roof, and that's okay because we'll add brown there, so brown will cover. And when you use a water brush, if you find that it's not dry or it's not wet, just squeeze it really lightly until you see some water coming out of the base, and then dab it on your napkin. You don't want to squeeze while you're coloring, or you're just going to have a whole pool of marker and water. So then you just start spreading it around. And honestly, it's that easy. So you have some darker areas where your darker color was on, or where you put the marker down. And then it just kind of lightens out. And you've got shaded and highlighted areas, and you really didn't even have to think about it. And you've got this fun watercolor look, and it's that easy. And then you just wipe off your napkin. So the area that I did get the excess on, I'm actually just going to kind of cheat and lift it off like that. So I just brushed it and dabbed it, and then it came off. Hi Melanie, how are you? It's so good seeing you at Scrapaganza. All right, so that is our house. Now we could come in, and I think I'll do brown for the roof. So with this, because it's a pretty small area to add color to, I'm just going to add a little bit around the edge, and then when I add the water brush, it's just softening that color and spreading it out. And I think we'll do the same thing. If you had a really small area, you can just use these to color in, or if you wanted something a bit darker, you can just color it with these markers. But I love having these. My daughter uses them a lot for her schoolwork, and then I use them a lot for coloring. And then for the puppy, because I kind of wanted the puppy to be a similar, like brown and gray, I'm going to take a light brown, and I'm just adding a light brown around the areas that I want to be brown. This is like so easy coloring. I definitely am not one to spend hours coloring, although I appreciate the people who do that are just, they color amazingly and it looks incredible. I do not have the patience for that. And usually I'm doing a layout and I just want to add some cute little details, and I don't want to take a whole lot of time, so this coloring works well for me. Although you could take your time a little bit more and do whatever you like. So I added light gray and dark gray, light brown and dark brown. You can kind of see, hi Janet, hi Glovana. And now all I'm doing is taking my water brush. I'm going around the brownish areas first. I don't need to have everything blended perfectly. And then I'm going to go into the gray. I can even dab my brush off a little bit. And they're just going to blend a bit where you meet, where the colors meet. And that is going to be done. So cute. And then we're going to give her a little kind of a greenish bowl, and that's going to match our paper. I love that the bowl says dog. Do you guys have any pets that use Scrapbook? Adding a little bit of blue right around the edge. So we just got this dog, and my dog's name is Coco, and it's apparently C-O-C-O. My girls told me. So Coco is very sweet and she's very good. Now I don't need to do too much here to blend that out. So I'll just go over it just to soften it. And I did do a little bit of gray on this one for the little tag on the collar. But I feel like the gray isn't really going to show up. So I'm just going to do a little bit of the green, and I'm going to leave that. And then here in the background, I'm just going to add a little bit of gray, just for shading. But you could use any color medium that you like. I really like to do watercoloring, and I find, especially with this collection that's kind of soft pastel colors, that the Mildliners work really nicely with that. And then the only other thing would be maybe a little bit of grass here. And we could actually, I feel like I'm going to grab a green if I remember where I put the rest of my markers, you know, when you set stuff down. And there we go. I'm going to grab just a little bit of green, and that's going to be the grass. And there's some green in that paper too, so that'll match. There we go. So just a little bit on there. So she's super cute. So let's zoom back out. And then we're going to fussy cut the image. These little OLFA scissors work very nicely. They're very nice and sharp. Monique scrapbooks her cats. Thanks, Karen. Oh, you love the pink color, Melanie. Nice. Karen has Ruby the dog and did a layout last Zoom crop. Oh, nice. Okay, so we have the VIP Zoom crops once a month, so that's always nice to get some scrapbooking done. And of course, you can find out about the VIP group where we hang out in a private Facebook group just by going to Creative Scrapbooker website and searching for the VIP information, or just message us and we can let you know. So really, when you're fussy cutting, you're just moving your paper, not the scissors. And these are nice and sharp. This paper is pretty thick, and that cuts it pretty nicely. Hi, Julie. Okay, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit more. Let's put that to the side. We can move our markers. And let's see. So now the other thing that I want to add on is some stenciling. So funny, it looks so different on my phone than on my iPad. So it looks very zoomed out on my iPad. Okay, I think that's okay. So I pulled out a couple of stencils. These are from Stampers Anonymous, and they're the Tim Holtz. There's a couple of Tim Holtz stencils. He always has amazing stencils. And before I add my stenciling, I think I want to just figure out where do I want these images. Like that could, I don't want to overlap my dog, but let's see. That could go there, or this could go there. And then maybe we'll put this cute one up here. Okay, so I think that's kind of going to be what I'm going to do. And I might move this up a little bit. And I'm only doing that because I want to figure out where I'm going to do my stenciling. So I'm going to add some stenciling here, and then it will be under the hugs area. And then I'm going to add some stenciling here. So we'll just move these to the side. I can measure this so I have an idea of where I wanted to put it. So this looks like it was about 3 inches from the top, and this is that OLFA grid ruler. I really like using the grid rulers for scrapbooking. We can set these to the side. So we're going to measure down about 3 on our glass mat there. It does not have to be perfect. This is just so that I don't have to add stenciling, to a spot that might just be covered up. So I'm going to put it like this, and these are the colors that I grabbed that I felt like worked with this collection. Let's see here. Thanks, Jackie. If you're ever not sure about what colors of cardstock or markers to pull in, or inks, grab a piece of pattern paper in the collection that has a lot of the colors in it. And then if you pull anything that has these colors, it's really going to match probably any of the papers, which is nice. So these are the colors that I pulled out. And now, what should I do? I think that maybe I'll do some, I'm going to do the pink and the blue and the green. I'm going to add as a little bit of background here. So I've got some brushes, and I'll grab my blue. This is an oxide ink, so it's a little bit more opaque than a distress ink, and you could use whatever color you like. There's so many fun colors, or you could use inks if you wanted to. I find that the oxides blend really nicely. So I kind of know if I look 3 inches down, this is where my paper is going to go across, so I don't have to go too much further than that. And I don't want to stencil a rectangle, so I'm just being careful to be kind of free and not hit those edges. Okay, so I've got some of that blue. I really love that blue. And then we can go in with the crushed olive. And it's funny because I wouldn't really think about using crushed olive with salvage patina and kitsch flamingo on a layout or on a card, but because they're in the papers, they really, you can tell that they go well together, which is really fun, to try out some different color combinations. You could also I'm thinking like maybe the faded jeans, that would be close to the blue color. That would be fun. So what I can do is just pick that up. Isn't that pretty? That reveal is always amazing. And I'm just going to add just a tiny bit there. Okay, so that to me almost looks like a sherbet color. And then we can go like this and just have a look at where we need to add our stenciling on the bottom. So we'll do like that, and we'll do the same colors. And if you add it in 2 or 3 different spots, then you can, it looks pretty cohesive. We'll add the blue, and I probably won't add as much. Now the other fun thing that you can do is that you can, if you layer the oxides one on top of each other, the one you've added last will stay on the top. Isn't that pretty? You could also spray this, and there's ink on that, and then you could dab it off. So, you know, I don't know, maybe we should do that, because I don't think you should probably let good ink go to waste, right? But I don't want to add a whole bunch of water, because this is nice and thick, but it isn't watercolor paper. But we could add just a little bit just to kind of play around with it if I have a water sprayer in front of me. Let's see. Okay. This is just my shoebox spray box. I'm just misting. I don't know how much is going to come off on this, but we're just playing. And it's just paper, right? So if it didn't completely work, then it would be okay. We're just going to dab it on. It's actually just leaving little, I think because I just sprayed it so lightly, it's just leaving little droplets, which actually I like. This might be a little bit more of that negative impression. Yeah, so you can see that you can get a little bit more if you've got a little bit extra water. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just playing around. But I do like that about mixed media, is that you can go in and you can flip your stencils around, and then this washes off with water very easily. And then our other stencil, so I'm going to dry this just really quickly. We don't have a lot of water on there, and this is nice and thick, so if you don't have a lot of wet medium to use, you can go for it with this Creative Scrapbooker Super Stock. Okay, and then we have this fun little one that almost looks like stitching to me. So I thought we would come over the top with the Kitsch Flamingo, which is a really pretty pink and goes so nicely with this flea market collection. And I'm just going right over top, just to make it look like we've added, you know, some layers of maybe stitching, or isn't that fun? And that reveal is always the best. When you take a stencil off, I think stenciling that's got to be my favorite. Isn't that fun? Okay, and that was so quick. So we can set that aside. Now we've got the base of our layout. We are going to come in with our paper. So we've got this paper, and I'm actually going to move the cut part over here because I know that big frame is going here. And let's Let's put this down. So if I line 3 inches up against the top, hello Scott, then we can come in with our Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. This is the Easy Runner Grand, and I'm using the white permanent. It's really nice and sticky. It is not going to come apart. And it's really easy to change as well. I do really like this tape runner. So I'm just going to line it up against the ruler and then line it up against the top. And then the same thing on this side. There we go. And you won't even notice that we have that little cut line in there. It's so hard not to get your head in the camera when you're trying to scrapbook. There we go. Hello, Raymond and Renette. All right, so that's our piece that we've created, the 12 by 12 or 12 by 6. And then we can start coming in and laying on our pieces. So we've got this frame that's a chipboard frame, so it has a nice little bit of dimension to it. I've also, so we've got the foam sticker and the hugs, and I feel like what I want to do is just to give this, I cut it out of pink, but I'm going to come in with a little bit of this Kitsch Flamingo ink, and I'm just going to add a little bit to the top of my die cut just to give it a look like it has a little bit of an ombre effect. And you can just do that with your brush, and then we'll wipe that off. Because if you have your inks out, you might as well use them. And I like the way that looks. I don't know, maybe we'll even put it on that. Sometimes when you go to put things together, it's like you decide maybe you're going to change it up, but maybe not. I don't know. I'm still trying to decide if I should put that there or maybe it needs to be over there. Okay, now we can play around with where we are going to put our pieces, and then we're going to add some fun little details with the foam circles and some foil. Okay, so these are going to layer. I do like that. And then we've got this little puppy here. I like that. I think I'm going to go ahead and put her down with the doghouse because I know that that's where she's going to end up. And I don't know if Jackie or Katerina is still on there. I don't see any comments, so I don't know if you guys are just intently watching or if I'm just not seeing comments. So if you are commenting and I'm not replying, I apologize. All right, and then this one here I think is going to be popped up. So I'm kind of liking this look. So we'll go ahead, we'll add our adhesive on the back. And then we can lay this down. I find that when I decide something works and I'm going to go ahead and put it on, you're here to mesmerize. Okay, good. you know, I never know. And especially like if I haven't seen anything for a while, maybe my iPad's just not working. So I think I'm going to leave this here and I'm going to put these photos here. These frames are fun because they're kind of at an angle and I think you could put them on lots of different ways. Calm, Scrapbooker. You're all sleeping. All right, let's grab the foam tape. So this is Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. It's the great big super giant roll. I'm working my way through it. It's lasted a long time and it is awesome. And I just want to find my non-stick little scissors. You know when you think you have everything, but you don't. You're not sure. Okay, what do I do with those? Okay, we'll just use these ones. I don't want to get adhesive on my wonderful little fussy cutting scissors, so I'm going to use some non-stick scissors. Let's add a little bit of foam tape. I think a little foam tape is going to give us just enough dimension that we can glue the head down for this. I do like to kind of layer things on. So if we have a little bit of a cluster, and then we can put a little bit of that adhesive on the top. I also love that the backing of this foam tape comes off so nicely. So this one, she's just going to sit over here. I love these stamps. They're so cute. Melanie, you're working on a project with your granddaughter and watching. Nice. Oh, you're welcome, Leslie. Yeah, I love turning my stencil over when it has stuff on it. Thanks, Jackie. All right, so we've got these things here. We're going to layer our, I have my puppy we have a little crate for her and she's standing up now. I'm really hoping that she's not going to, I hear sneezing, that she's not going to want to get out of her pen. Okay, this one is going to go here. And what I did do with, let's see, with these things here, with the die cuts, or the ones that I layered, I actually took the adhesive sheets. I took out a sheet, you add it to the back of your paper that you want to stick, and you die cut the sheet that's adhesive onto the paper, onto the cardstock. You die cut them both together, and then you're left with this adhesive die cut, which is really cool. And I'm going to give my puppy a treat because she's starting to get tired of being in her pen. Here you go. Here's a treat. There. And maybe she'll sit still for a few more minutes. Okay, we're going to add our hugs. So all I did was take off the backing, then we can just stick that wherever we want. And actually and you can move it around a little bit, and then if you give it a really good press, really nice press, it's going to stick on there. But it's nice, it does give you a little bit of time to move things around. And then this one here, I think we'll just put directly down on the backing, maybe even almost tucked under that little hugs. These ones here, we are going to add some adhesive just to the top. I'm going to tuck it under that foam sticker, so I'm not too worried about the stem. So we're just going to add some of these come off in little pieces, which is nice because then you can just add a few pieces wherever you need them. Oh, can you hear me now? Oh, can you hear me now? Let's see. I changed my headphone. Did that seem to work better? Does my headphone still connect? That's good. Okay. So sorry about that. I think it's okay now. Changed my headphone. And then, so this is the white permanent, has the little tiny rectangles of adhesive. Add it. Add this on. Go like that. And I love that there's 3 different sizes of flowers in those dies. If you wanted to pop these up, then you could just add some foam to pop it up. Now something wrong? Okay, I disconnected and then I reconnected. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me now. Otherwise, I will just put it on speaker and hopefully keep talking. Okay. Hi, Tamara. Okay, let me know if something else happens. So we're just gluing down these flowers, layering them. Okay. That's very strange. Hey, I don't know. Sometimes I know what's going on and sometimes I'm just guessing. All right. Hello, Joy. Oh, it's working now? Okay, I had to disconnect it and then reconnect. Or that's what I think. That's what I think I had to do. Okay, and then I'm going to add this one, but because this is thicker, I'm just going to cut off the bottom edge of this. So I'm going to cut it at about here. And then I die cut this with the adhesive sheet on the back so I can just remove that adhesive backing. There we go. And sometimes it helps if you have some tweezers, which, here I go. I do like these Elizabeth Craft tweezers. They're very ergonomically friendly, I think. And then we have that adhesive backing on the back. So I'm going to place that just so that I can put the foam sticker along the bottom. So we'll press that down nice and hard. Okay, and then we can take this backing off of that Simple Stories letter or word sticker. And we're just going to place that right over top of those stems so we don't really have to worry about those moving anywhere. Okay, and let's see, then what we do have are our circles, our little circle adhesives. So let me just find those again. So these are the 3D foam circles, which you can just use for popping up your project when you need 3D foam squares. But you can also use them to add little embellishments on your project if you want some little foil embellishments. So this is the pastel pack from Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L, the metallic transfer foil sheets in pastel colors. If you have something adhesive, they're going to stick onto it. So it's a really easy way to apply foil to your project. And I'm just taking my little foam circles and I'm going to add them on just like I would do with like a little gem or enamel dot. I think maybe we'll add them onto our little flower to make a little flower center. You can do this with the foam squares. They also have the foam shapes, which I did grab a butterfly one. Let's see here. I wasn't sure if I would use it, but the butterflies are really beautiful and they have lots of foam shapes with Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. So you can also, I have my foam shape is stuck in my package. These are so pretty. You've got little dragonflies, little butterflies. After we get that on, maybe we'll see if we should put a little butterfly on. So I'm just pulling these little ones out to put in our flower center. And you can use different colors if you wanted to use different colors. But I think all of these colors actually really match nicely. I'm thinking maybe the yellow, kind of this gold color, would be pretty for the centers. So I think we'll do that. So let's, all we need to do is take the backing off of our foam, press our foil sheet on, and then as soon as you pull it off, you've got that metallic foil adhered. It's so pretty. And it's really easy. Oh, and I just stuck it to my other one there. There. It's just like, it's so easy to add little accents. And that's so pretty. And then you have these like really pretty little foiled accents on your project. And then I'm thinking, because there's a butterfly up there that's pink, that maybe we should add one of the butterflies. So we could do that one, or we could do a smaller one. Maybe this one right here. Yes, you're listening. That's funny. I didn't do that on purpose, I promise. All right, so we've got that on there. We're going to pull off the backing, and then we could even go, this even matches that little bit of purple there, which is really nice. So you just want to rub that on and then pull it off. There's a little spot there. perfect. If you miss a little spot, you can definitely go back in and it's going to stick to whatever is sticky. Oh, I really like that. Trying to think if we need any other little embellishments. I think that's okay. I'm going to write some journaling, so I'll do that and then I will post a picture of the layout probably tomorrow morning, or I'll see. Anyway, I'll figure out when to post it, but I will get a picture posted. And my puppy is getting very ready to get out of her pen. So I'm gonna do some lines and write some journaling, and then this layout will be finished. So thank you guys so much. You're pretending it's her puppy wagging his tail. You know what? She was chewing on something, so that totally could have been something that you were hearing. So be sure to check out all these fun products, Penny Black and Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L, all the fun things that we used here. I hope that you guys have an awesome day. Thank you so much. Thanks, Karen. Thanks for hanging out with me and creating, and I hope you get some crafty time for yourself as well this week. Thanks, Melanie. And I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks, Jackie. All right, guys, take care. Bye.